Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. Here, let me straighten you up a bit. I don't know, well, maybe not. Well, it's good enough. So anyways, the curtain's closed because like the sun's coming directly into it, and I have a softbox behind the phone here. So anyways, the third video. Welcome to the third video. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the third video of the weekend. So I did make it the 3 videos, and this one has a little bit of a story to it. Patrick Hollins, Mr. Patrick Hollins, we're became pretty good buds. We're talking every day, and he noticed that there's a lot of old cameras. We're up for, I don't know, about 30 bucks American, something like that. So I said, oh, grab it. But I didn't have, he was nice enough to grab it. I didn't have the money on me to send him. So he grabbed it and held on to it for a couple of weeks, and then shipped it up with some other stuff when I could afford to pay for the shipping and pay for him to pick it up and stuff. So thank you, Mr. Patrick Hollins. How's it going, Patrick? How's it going, bud? So anyways, in this lot of old cameras was a 1951 Zeiss Ikon Ikoflex TLR with an Tessar lens. You know, and it's a T lens, so it's coated, and the 3.5. What is it? 75 millimeter 3.5. This camera was in. We're trying to figure out where this was stored because it was so covered with yellow. We figured maybe it was somebody. It was a smoker, and it just sat on a fireplace mantle or something, or maybe I could picture somebody sitting in a dark basement by a fireplace with a bunch of pipes that they smoked. I don't know. It took a lot to get this as clean as this was. It took metal polish. Oh my gosh, the lenses were really dirty. We had to pull all the lenses apart. So I took all the lenses apart, cleaned the lenses. The shutter is working. The real slow speed, little hesitant. It needs to be more servicing yet. I promised Patrick that if it was working, that I was gonna restore it till as new as condition as I could get it. So anyhow, and all of the metal was so tarnished, I actually had to use a metal polish, and most of the leather was okay. There's a few pieces missing at the top. There was a few pieces missing at the top. The mirror, the old mirror, is toast. You know, you could barely see what you're shooting, so there's no focusing. There's absolutely no focusing with visually through this right now. I'm gonna cut a new mirror for it. I had luckily there was just some fungus and stuff inside the taking lens, so we were able to clean that up with hydrogen peroxide and really strong ammonia. That cleaned up really well, and really happy about that. But the taking lens had so much stuff in there and scratches that I actually hand polished. I hand polished the taking lens on this. You couldn't even see through it. It was so bad, and it was it looked like somebody used steel wool or something to try to clean it. So I actually hand polished the glass in the taking lens and got it really well. It took a long hours and hours, but the mirror is it's gone. It's like the old silver mirrors. It's, there's barely an image coming through the viewfinder. So anyways, today I was gonna cut a mirror up for it, and you said, Patrick and I were sitting there, we're wondering if this thing, how it takes photos. So I threw some Delta 100 in it today and loaded it up, and it's got a special, luckily 1951, it has it's a 120 and it isn't a 117. So basically all you have to do, and I'll do a loading feature on it someday, is put your film in and wind it up to number 1 till you see the number 1 in this window. And then, there's quite a sequence in this camera. And then you have to push this dial in and turn it until it clicks. and that's it. Everything's locked. It's ready. It has a double exposure prevention system, so it's really complex. You don't want to be taking this camera apart inside any of the working mechanisms unless you're really experienced with this stuff, because there's lots of people that have tried and failed miserably. So that's how this one works. The older ones, if it has 117, there's a whole sequence you have to go through to try to line up your 120 film. If you're not into that kind of stuff, I would, if you're into maybe picking one of these old guys up, 72 years old, and you want to make sure you get one that's 120 and not the 117. So you really want to make sure that it's a bonus that it has the coated lens and the Zeiss Opton. Everybody knows that I'm a real big fan of Zeiss Opton. So so there we go, Patrick Collins. We get ourselves into some stuff sometimes. It's fun. We have a lot of fun. So through Delta 100 in there. It's quite a neat. I don't know what you can see on this camera here, but this side sets, and there's a little window on the top. I'll do an overview on this camera, and that sets your aperture. It goes up to f16, and this side, when you move this, it goes all the way up to 500, and and you can see it through a little window what your speeds are. It was, Zeiss, right? They're like I always say, lens manufacturer, camera manufacturer back then. You can buy yourself Rolleiflexes or whatever, that's fine, Rolleiflexes. But me, I'm a real fan of Zeiss, lens manufacturer, camera manufacturer. They really started putting some complicated stuff inside this engineering on these cameras, because the Japanese companies, and we know Nikon, we're got a hold of some of their engineers, and they were stealing a lot of their engineering. So they made their cameras more and more complicated, and so that's why taking this apart, you better know what you're doing. So anyhow, so cool. So I had to zone focus, and that's about all I can tell you. I may have a set of close-up lenses coming for it. That'll be cool. And also I think I have a hood somewhere that actually fits this. Other than that, there's nothing much for me to tell you. Thank you, Patrick. And wow, here's the results. Went out today again, and just across the track. I'm pretty busy, so tried to take some photos as quick as I could. And of course, I hit the train yard, right? Because you gotta do what you gotta do. And I got a few other photos in there besides just trains and stuff. So Delta 100 Ilford DDX had a big problem loading the Delta into my spool. My spool, it just sometimes inside the dark bag or in the dark room when you go to load these films for developing, it every now and then stuff happens. And so today stuff happened, but I was able to crop the images. There was 3 images that I had to crop a little bit because the edges were touching inside the development tank, and it just got chemical burns on it. So let me know what you think about the Zeiss Opton Tessar. This Zeiss Tessar Opton lenses always give me this feel. It's like a 3-dimensional thing, or I don't know how to explain it, but the Optons from pre-war up to the early 50s like this just give me this feel. So anyhow, Solidgore light meter, Solidgore spot meter, of course, zone focusing, like, subscribe, click the bell. This is what we got. Thanks, Patrick, for all the effort that you go through. And there's other surprises that's coming that him and I are working on, but we're not going to reveal that right yet. So hang loose, everybody. Take care. Hope you had a good weekend. Grab yourself a beer. Into the week we go, starting tomorrow. See you guys later. Right? 72 years old.
I know the next morning when the sun goes up, it might be the last day